in a world where all of your software is in the cloud, in a world where you can press a button and have access to every music record ever made or watch movies in a second on Netflix, I just don't understand why payments are just so outdated. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that, because that's the experience that we're going for. We're trying to create the same feeling you get when you use Netflix or when you use Spotify right here with Plooto.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a good one. Our guest is the co-founder of Plooto, which is a fast-growing payment management platform for business-to-business payments. Hamid Abbasi, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. I am a customer as well, so I have to give that declaration out right now. A little, the small print. I absolutely love the product. So if you hear me gushing about your product, you'll know why.
Fantastic. No, we love to hear that.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the things that I love when we have guests on where I've been able to use their product. And, you know, if I didn't like the product, you probably wouldn't be here. So this is great. We got a great product, a great person like yourself, and I'm really excited about learning more about you and your product and what you can tell us to help our listeners grow and scale their businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I actually started my career in Bank of Montreal, which is a large bank in Canada. Spent a number of years there, but then I decided that I wanted to start my own company, get into tech industry. So I left the bank in 2010, started a company called Vast Studios. We grew that for 4 years, and then the company was acquired by a large gaming company just based out of Canada. And after that, I really wanted to solve a big problem. And I remember that when I was at the bank, we dealt with thousands of businesses. And one of the biggest challenges that they had was managing their payments. They would come in with stacks of checks that they needed to deposit. And for international payments, they had to send wire transfers, which were absolutely a nightmare to process. And there wasn't really a better way for small and medium-sized businesses to manage this crucial part of their business, which is to get paid and to pay their vendors and suppliers. So we just thought that this is an area that we want to focus, and it's a big problem for a lot of people that we wanted to solve, and that's why we created Plooto.
Beautiful. Well, you know what? It's exactly what your product is based on what you've just shared with us. That's exactly why I looked at Plooto, is that this whole, we deal with different vendors all over the world, and getting them paid in a way that's easy to understand and syncs with our QuickBooks Online. It was painful. And then all of a sudden someone said, hey, what have you checked out Plooto? So I checked it out, and it was literally, it made paying people around the world as if they were literally in my hometown, which is just excellent. And once it was done, I mean, it took a bit to get set up, and they didn't, there's a learning curve to anything, but very little learning curve. But once we had it set up, now paying those vendors is so simple.
Yeah. Nobody started a business to spend their time collecting checks and sending wire transfers. You started a business because you wanted to solve a problem. You saw an opportunity that you thought that you want to spend time on to make that process or that product better. And that's why people start businesses. But a big part of running the business is managing your cash flow and managing incoming payments, outgoing payments, reconciliation, having your financials in place so you can make better decisions. But the process for doing that is just so antiquated. We're still using checks. 55% of businesses in North America are still using checks daily. 80% of international payments are done on wire transfers. And in a world where all of your software is in the cloud, in a world where you can press a button and have access to every music record ever made, or watch movies in a second on Netflix, I just don't understand why payments are just so outdated. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that, because that's the experience that we're going for. We're trying to create the same feeling you get when you use Netflix or when you use Spotify right here with Plooto.
Yeah, it's one of the other things that comes along with payments, the way that it currently is in the marketplace, the past, very little transparency. And for, you're sending out money. Where's it going, especially internationally, but regardless, wherever you send it, when you send it out, it's it causes maybe stress or anxiety. Is your vendor may have stress, you may have stress. Is it getting to the right place? You've got to take these codes that nobody really understands what codes, if you need the Swift code or if you need, every bank's different. It's crazy. Yeah. And so transparency is really powerful. And that's what I liked about this solution, was that once it was all set up, we could see exactly where the money was, when it was going to be, where it was going to be. And it just brings communication and transparency on that level of that transaction. And then history, right? Yeah. You can see where it's at. So I think a big key word there really for me is it changed the way I could see, and that transparency of this experience. And you spoke of those problems, which it solved it almost instantly.
Absolutely. I think if you look at the traditional wire transfers for international payments, or when it comes to domestic payments, the regular ACH network in the US or EFT network in Canada, these technologies were all built in 60s and 70s, and they really haven't been updated since they were placed into the system. So because of that, a lot of the features and tools that you might be looking for as a business owner simply doesn't exist, because they simply can't build that transparency and visibility on a technology that's like 40 years old. So we spent a lot of our time thinking about, what does the payment system of the future look like? What is the data that you want to have access to? What is the information that is important to you as a business owner? And we have built those features and capabilities on Plooto, thinking about what the future of payment is going to look like. And that what that does is it gives you a lot of the capabilities that your regular bank is never going to be able to offer.
And it really, it is that, and you're revolutionizing how payments, perhaps you're the leader in how that's going to look in the future, which the future looks bright based on what you guys have built. Now, what I think's cool about this, and I want to talk about a few other things that I like about the product, but before I do that, I really want to say for the listener, this is one of those tools that is in your superhero belt, right, with your clients. If you help your clients with a product like this, they're going to think you're a hero, because they're struggling. It's the owner that is struggling with their payments. And as a bookkeeper, someone that's helping them bring clarity and transparency to their own business finance and bring simplicity to their own finance situation, this is one of those tools that's going to change the way they do business. And that's what I see as the big opportunity, is that not only will every single listener be able to utilize a tool like this for themselves, it's a tool that they'll be able to put in the hands of every single client that they work with and look great.
Yeah, absolutely. It just makes your firm look better utilizing cloud-based applications. And I was reading this study recently that said business owners are actually ahead of bookkeepers and accountants when it comes to adoption of cloud-based technologies. So if I'm a business owner and I have Seed Bank and I have HubDoc and I have a bunch of other applications that I use, when I go to my accountant, I expect my accountant to not only be using that, but actually be an expert in these products. So there's a whole psychological shift that is happening that business owners are expecting these technological advances to be available at the accounting firm or at the bookkeeping firm that they're working with. And it also helps you as the bookkeeper or accountant to be more efficient and get more clients. Because I did this presentation a few months back at QB Connect, and I basically said that the role of the financial professional is really changing, where it's going from data entry and manual processes to actually building relationships and helping your customers make better decisions when it comes to their business, as opposed to the past where it was just, they gave you a shoebox and they're like, hey, I've been collecting these receipts, deal with it at the end of the year and file the taxes. And that relationship is completely changing. And by utilizing these cloud-based applications, you could actually free up a lot of time, which then can be spent on building the necessary relationships that you need to grow your firm.
Yeah, it really is an exciting time. And it's such an interesting stat that business owners are ahead of the industry because they're the ones that are looking for these solutions, perhaps, that help make their life easier. And often what I'm seeing is that there's all these great tools, but it needs that person that understands the whole picture that can bring it all together and really make it work well. Like when I'm not the bookkeeper, when I started using Plooto myself, and I brought it to my bookkeeper and the person that works our finance. And she's like, okay, well, let's have a look at this. And then all of a sudden, when she started looking at it, she could see way more of how we could use it and integrate it better and make it all come to life. And that's why I think a tool like this, and I'm going to guess, and you can tell us a little bit about this, but I'm thinking it's in its infancy. How long has Plooto been around?
So we are, for the product and the sophistication that we've developed, we're a very new company. We released our platform in November of 2015. So coming up to 2 years now.
2 years, and already it's an excellent product. I imagine you have other things on the development pathway, which is going to be exciting. So bringing those tools, I think it's really important to look at something like this. And there's lots of different options in the marketplace, but when you have a tool that really does help, and I can say it from my perspective as an entrepreneur, small business owner, really helps me. And from a perspective of the bookkeeper, it's music, right? It's music for doing business. Now, I'd like to hear your take a little bit on, you mentioned the changes that you see coming in the way people are paying. What other things do you see evolving in this area in the marketplace?
Yeah, so definitely cloud-based applications are a big change that's happening. And I believe that every single process that you currently have in your business is going to move to the cloud. And at the same time, I would say machine learning and automation is becoming a huge part of a lot of businesses because things that would have taken a long time in the past can now simply be automated with a lot of tools that are available in the market, such as Plooto and many other things. And in terms of machine learning, I think that's a very exciting space to be in. Because we look at our platform as beginnings of a platform that could do many more things just beyond payments. Because once you use Plooto and you're used to the ecosystem and you're sending payments to your vendors and suppliers, we could actually use that data to offer you a lot of more relevant services that are customized specifically for your business. And that's something that in the past wouldn't have been possible to offer because of the costs associated with customizing solutions for every single business. But with machine learning, it's something that it can be made available to pretty much everyone.
Beautiful. There was something, what's been your recent release, your most recent release with the platform?
So the biggest release that we've done in the past couple of weeks, I mean, we update the product every night.
I love that. Gets better every day then.
Yeah, exactly. We pretty much look at any improvements, anything that we have to make, and then it's released on a nightly basis. So pretty much our product is getting better every single day. And the biggest releases that we've had is we made a lot more countries available when it comes to international payments. We're pretty much going to cover the globe by the end of the year in terms of all the countries that you can send payments to. We also released credit cards, which is pretty big for us. Customers love points and they want to collect their points, and it's probably one of the most requested features that we get is the ability to pay with your credit card, and we have that available on Plooto as well. So if you're a Plooto customer, you can make credit cards available to you and your customers can pay you using their credit card.
Exciting. I think that was the one that I had in my mind. I was trying to remember when I saw that, I thought, oh, wow, that's really cool. Just another option to be able to get set up with credit card. I know a lot of our clients want to be paid by credit card, and yet they, in the past it was, you needed a merchant account and you needed all these different things and you needed to set up. And even with something like Stripe, it's still, it's a powerful, amazing back end, but you still need to set other things up to make it happen. Whereas now you've brought this to a very simple way of doing it, making it the process simple. And now you can do credit cards and literally be set up almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that you touched on, is that with Stripe, you pretty much need an engineer or a developer to be able to implement that into your systems. Whereas with Plooto, we've done all of that work. We've done all that back end, and we've made it as simple as possible for you. So as opposed to the process taking probably a couple of weeks for you to be set up and running, it's just a matter of couple of buttons, and now you can accept credit cards, and payments are paid out nightly as well. So you have access to that cash flow immediately.
Beautiful. Well, that's a big differentiator as well compared to a lot of the other ones where they hold on to the money for a week, and that creates confusion, and cash flow is king.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell me a little bit of a different direction in my question is, you're an entrepreneur. You've been growing your business. You've grown and exited one business, and you're now growing another. What's this journey been like as a business owner?
It's you know what it is? I absolutely love what I do. So for me, I don't really look at it as a job or something that I have to do. It's once you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur. I remember when we sold our last company, I thought that, what it is, I'm just going to take probably a year or two off and just enjoy my time off. And my girlfriend and I went to Spain for 2 weeks. And believe it or not, I was so bored on the second week. I was like, I have to do something. So as soon as I came back, I started another company. I met with my co-founder and we started to brainstorm. So the journey, I would say running a business is really like a roller coaster. You're riding a roller coaster. You have good days, you have bad days, you have successes, you have failures. But as long as you keep your eye on the ball and you think about the long-term vision, then I would say it's going to make it all worth it at the end, because it's very tough to run your own business. It's very stressful. It's a lot of work and long hours. But I think for me, it's that vision that keeps me excited about the product and what we're building. And on top of that, the opportunity to help millions of people around the world with our product, that is really exciting. So it's a little bit of everything. I don't think I can explain it until you actually go through it, but it's change it for anything else in the world.
Yeah, there's lots of, some of the things that you've said, right? There is a lot of uncertainty in growing a business, but a big vision and an exciting vision is what keeps you on track by the sounds of it for you. And for you, our listeners are bookkeepers. They're people that help people like you understand and have clarity around the finances, make sure that things are done correctly and done as efficiently as possible, and give you as real time as possible data to help you make better business decisions. From your perspective, how do you see that end of your business, and how anything to share with us about, how our audience can better relate with people like you?
It's a great question. I think there's a lot of information out there that I think once you're starting on this journey, it could be really overwhelming because it just feels like you have to know everything and things are just moving really, really fast in all different directions. But at the same time, I would say, one thing that we've done is to consolidate a lot of these lack of information, or I guess the feeling of overwhelming. We've tried to consolidate it with our product so you don't have to go to a lot of different places and different areas to know what you have to know in order to relate to an entrepreneur like me. So I would say I don't think I have a good answer for you on that.
I think what I'm hearing from you is that simplicity, right? Because you're fast moving, things are constantly changing. I can just hear in the story that you've told us, right? You're going to want sound bites of information. You're not going to want to know every single detail about every single thing. You're going to want to know what is the high level, what have you done, why is this good for me? And if that's it, that's great. Let's move on, because you're moving so fast, and you're always just like you sold the story of yourself being on vacation, right? Week 2, I'm bored, right? So, many people would say, oh no, you should have stayed another week. 3rd week, you'd feel great, right? But that is a very, I think, an important distinction, is that entrepreneurs are running at a really high octane, a lot of them. And so sound bites, very quick. This is what we've done for you. This is why it's valuable to you, so that you are not a distraction. You're not a noise. You're not a disruption, if you will. So I love that, the way you've said it. And I kind of caught you off guard there with that question, but I think you answered it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's keeping things simple. It's very, very important because entrepreneurs are just so busy with their own work and with their own lives. And if I can just have our team just give me be a helping hand and keep things simple, then that's going to be very beneficial to me.
So coming back to Plooto, what do you see? Can you give us any kind of indication as to what's to come? You mentioned a few things that you might be looking at. What's on the horizon?
I appreciate that. This is something we literally think about on a daily basis. Of like, what's next? What can we do for our customers? For us, what we are seeing in the market is, and I believe you referenced this as well, is that there's a lot of new apps, a lot of new tools that are coming to the market that all do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it could be very overwhelming to bookkeeping community or the accounting community, because it's just moving so fast and so many new things are happening. So for us, an opportunity is, and this is something that we've built from day one in our product, is we're trying to remove that app fatigue that you would experience once you go to the App Store and see how many tools are available, by providing you a single place for all your financial related activities. So really that is what we are going to be focusing on, and try to make sure that you never need another platform when it comes to your financial activities, that Plooto becomes the only platform that you go to for anything financial related when it comes to your business. So that's really how we think about future, is we're trying to keep it simple. We're trying to make the experience unified, and also eliminate that app fatigue completely by providing one single application for everything.
Beautiful. I'm excited. I think what you have right now is a mind blower. I've showed it to a few of our clients, to bookkeeper clients, that once they saw it, they're super excited about it, and they're just digging in to learn more about it. and they all see the possibility of what this app in its current state can do. So I think it's for you, the listener, you have to try this thing. You really need to go, and we're going to have a link on the post. So if you scroll down there and click on the link to our website, go and click on this link, get a trial, start downloading it. Now, I can't remember if it was a trial. I believe it's like you just go and sign up. There's no payment or anything. Am I correct?
Yeah, so one of the main things about Plooto is that we're not, what I call traditional SaaS business, which you have to pay a licensing fee, then you have to pay a monthly fee for every single user. We're trying to remove and eliminate all that headache. So Plooto is absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything to set up an account, and you only pay when you use the product on a per transaction basis. And when you don't use the product, you don't pay anything for it.
Which is what made it so easy for me to make that choice and go in and check it out. When they have the cost or a payment, you have to do a bit more evaluation. So it really was an easy way for me to evaluate it. And I'd used other products, and this turned out to be just absolutely easy to use and cost effective. So go check it out. It definitely will be, I think, one of those apps that everybody's going to be talking about at every single conference, and how it's changing the way they do business for themselves and for their customers. So super exciting. Hamid, anything else that you'd like to share with us about your product or what you see coming, or exciting things that you've got on, or any kind of promotions at all would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We have promotions. The first 25 transactions are free. It's on us, and that's our gift to your listeners. So if they use your link, they can just send us a quick email, and we can provide them with 25 free transactions to get started. And then on top of that, if you are an accountant or a bookkeeper, your clients also get 25 free transactions as well. And at the same time, platform doesn't cost anything. I think the best advocate for this is just for you to go and use it and see it for yourself.
It's absolutely zero risk. The only thing you're risking is your time to have a look. And I can tell you from the people that I've worked with that have used it, there is absolutely zero risk. This is all opportunity. And I'm so pleased to be able to have someone like yourself on the podcast, who's not only a fellow entrepreneur and small business owner like our listeners, but as well providing a super tool to help business owners be more successful, save more time, and get to what it is that they really truly are passionate about. Just like you, Hamid, are passionate about changing the way people transact in business around the world. Every one of our listeners has their own vision, and this is going to help them get there faster.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, it's been great. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to have you back to talk more about what's going on. It sounds like you're just at the beginning of an evolving product. So I'm loving it, and I love to have people like yourself back on the show in the future.
Fantastic. Looking forward to that, and thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Hamid, thank you. And that wraps another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.